I'm Gabe Lullo, and welcome to the Do Hard Things podcast. We're talking to go-to-market leaders and entrepreneurs who have conquered the challenges, the hustle, and the grind. Get ready for real talk, real insights, and no fluff.
But the hardest thing in the world right now is not actually closing deals, it's actually getting somebody's attention.
If you don't have that hook in that first 5 to 10 seconds, guess what? They're going to scroll to the next one.
You need to go in and you need to make it sound like yourself. That's the biggest piece of the puzzle. And I promise you, we can all tell.
The people that are trolls and the people that are haters never done the thing that you're doing.
I love doing this podcast because I get a front row seat to some of the greatest minds in sales.
Gone are the days of saying stay in your lane. When you're an executive leader and you're an enterprise-wide leader, there are no lanes. You've got to be partners.
Curiosity is like when the type of questions you ask is sometimes the value that you bring.
I need you to tell me when you're ready to buy or what you're ready to do. And I think it's changed so much into like adding more value. And if you're not doing that, then you're definitely going to come off as desperate.
High pressure selling is like a dinosaur tactic at this point.
No parent is like, oh, you should be a salesperson when you grow up, right? Everyone's like a doctor, lawyer, whatever crap. It's never salespeople.
It's not your job to motivate people. It's your job to find motivated people.
It's not cockiness. It's not arrogance. It's confidence knowing I know this and I know that I can help you.
From where I started to where I am today is all because I learned how to sell.
And there's too many people who have only been doing this for 5 freaking minutes. Sit down, close your mouth, actually go out there and get yourself beat up. Then come back and tell me if something is dead or not.
That is exactly why I started this podcast, because right there, that's the epitome of doing hard things.
Welcome back to the Do Hard Things podcast with Lexi and Gabe. Today's guest is an expert at driving growth and building high-performing teams. Hans has led global businesses in travel, hospitality, and consumer goods, turning around struggling companies and leading teams across 7+ countries. What makes Hans stands out is how he achieves his results. He's designed award-winning customer experiences, launched innovations like Four Seasons Yachts, and created the 6C model to help teams turn strategy into action. He's also the author of The Why Whisperer, aimed at helping leaders align and inspire their teams. Hans, welcome to the show.
Welcome back, everyone, to Do Hard Things with Gabe and Lexi. I am so excited to have Hans with us. Hans, how you doing, man?
Yeah, very good, very good.
Awesome.
I'm glad to be here.
We're glad you just got off of a vacation with the family, so you're well rested and ready to go. I love it.
Absolutely. Look at me. I'm so relaxed.
So listen, we just heard your bio. The audience knows what you do. It's quite impressive. And, I always start this question off in our podcast because, the shows do hard things, right? And, there's struggle, there's perseverance, there's resiliency. My mentor said to me, Gabe, success leads right through the dumps, right?
Yeah.
And so when we're growing up, when we're kids, right, you usually don't say, hey, we want to go ahead and do what it is we do as adults. Why did you get started? And what are you passionate about to get you here?
Yeah, a good story. So I have to start with when I was 15, when I was a teenager and absolutely had no clue what I wanted to do or what I wanted to do as a profession later on. But I needed some money, like most teens do. And instead of asking my parents, I started working on the weekends in a do-it-yourself store in the Netherlands, like a Home Depot. Being quickly in charge of screws and nails, very exciting. But that really started off my is it curiosity to ask yourself why are things working, why are things selling, why are people motivated, so always ask the why. And after graduation, I started my professional journey, and I started actually off in packaged consumer goods. And Netherlands is a small country. Netherlands is less than half of Florida, so I quickly really was eager to explore beyond our borders. Went to the UK, and after that also went to Germany and Spain. And it's so interesting. Maybe for Americans, Europe sounds the same, but we are so cultural different. So that added such an interesting dimension. Again, to ask why, I was not just launching products. I was navigating different cultures, different market dynamics, different teams, and every time, being curious and to learn, develop, and yeah, learn from your teams. And now, 25 years later, I worked and lived in 7 countries. Yeah. As we discussed, I released my book, my first book, last month. It is about strategy implementation, and it is actually a learning, a sum up of those 25 years, asking the why. What I've seen so many times is that strategies fail. And the answer when strategies fail is to do more strategy and to do more analytics.
Right.
And where 95% of the strategies fail is simply by implementation, because you don't have your team behind you. The team doesn't know how they contribute to the strategy. They don't know how exciting it is. Strategy should be exciting. So yeah, that in the end, after this long journey, led me into yeah, developing the 6C framework and writing the book.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that. And obviously, you've led at the highest levels: CEO, CCO, CRO. But let's go back. What was your first experience managing a team, and what made it so tough?
Yeah, so interestingly, the first team that I managed was immediately, well, so not a global team, but a European team. So now after COVID, we talk about managing remote teams, but I was managing indeed a team in the Netherlands, in Germany, and Switzerland and Belgium. And as I said, maybe it sounds quite similar, but those four are really different cultures. Even Belgium and the Netherlands, they are seriously different. So, and I was young, I was unexperienced from a people management perspective. So, and now I suddenly had to, yeah, set a strategy, communicate, motivate, sometimes be tough. I thought that was actually a really hard learning. That sometimes you have to be tough with certain team members, and yeah, that was a very interesting learning. Also, as I said, the remote part, because you cannot always be on location. I traveled a lot. I like to connect personally. I still love to do that, but you have to learn to yeah, work. Work from a distance, and at that time we didn't have Zoom or Teams, so that was quite sometimes challenging.
Yeah, for sure. So you've turned around multiple, loss-making businesses, right? Ones that really needed you to come in and drive, I guess, a new mindset with the leadership. So what do you really, what does that mindset, look like when you need to make that turnaround with the team?
Yeah, very good question. And I think where it goes wrong quite often is, with very experienced and very talented leaders, they have to come in, they have to manage a turnaround, and they think that they are the expert prescriber. They know the medicine, and they're just in there to provide the medicine.
Yeah.
And that attitude is wrong. I would say come in as the chief listener. You come in as the chief orchestra of yeah, collective knowledge, collective intelligence. What you have to do when a business is losing money is connect with the teams, and you don't have a lot of time for that. So it needs to happen quite quickly. But understand what's going on. They might be demoralized. They might be fragmented or unheard, but your role isn't to walk in and have all the answers. Your role is to walk in and ask the right questions. And
Right.
um, yes, I think that is critical. The other critical thing is, when a company is losing money, I love this element, is that it's so important now, to more important than in a regular business, to have a long-term strategy, but also to seek those short-term gains, because you have to have these short-term wins to motivate the team, to celebrate successes, to show to I don't know, shareholders or boards that you're on the right track. So but with a turnaround, you have to formulate that long-term strategy on where the business should go. So for me, it is actually for leaders the best learning experience, because you have to balance that strategy long term, but grab those short-term gains, so the wins, because that's essential in the end in the successful execution of where you want to go.
Right.
I love that. Was there ever a moment with everything that you have going on, the different companies, writing the book, that you ever felt in over your head? And what did that really teach you moving forward, a lesson?
Yes, I remember one time, it was at Quark Expeditions, which is an expedition cruise company. And that company was losing a significant amount of money. So I came in, built a team, and we formulated actually a plan which we called Back in Black. A motivating theme. No,
ACDC.
exactly. I love your T-shirt, by the way, Gabe, for this. No, but negative numbers are often written in red, but we wanted to write black numbers, and we started executing that plan, and it went so well, and we were on the right track, and with bumps and challenges. So with just a few months to go before the end of the fiscal year, we had an issue with a ship, so at that time we still used Russian scientific ships, and of course they had to be certified as a cruise ship. And literally just days before departure, we didn't get the cruise certificate for that ship. It was not ready to sail, and so we had to cancel. And I still remember that I was in the executive meeting with my team, and this is an example that you have to do it together. It's not, again, you as a leader that always needs to have the right answers. And very Dutch as I am, I used some extremely bad words for which I apologized. And then it was actually my marketing and sales VP, a lady called Leslie, wonderful a woman, who said, "Come on, Hans, just let's do it. What we are going to do is call all these customers. We're going to not to lose them. We're going to excite them and rebook them on our other voyages. Those voyages are going to have a higher occupancy. We're going to make more money on them, and we're just going to do it." And yes, we did it. And by the way, one of the hardest things about that situation as a next step was, a lot of the passengers, they already traveled in for a pre-tour, actually pre-tour in Alaska and in Anchorage. And of course, we also looked around in the team like, who's going to dare to tell them? And I said, okay, that's stuff. I'm the CEO. I'm going to do it. And I can tell you that that was uh, yeah, one of the hardest things I had to do. Look them in the eyes and tell them, the trip is not happening, and
Right.
being booed and being yeah, that was not the most fun thing to do, but we did it. And by the way, the company wrote black numbers in that first year. So
That's amazing. So we touched on this a little bit, global, not having Zoom or Teams, and being in office, being remote. So you've scaled businesses, but you've scaled them globally, right? All over
yes.
the world. So what is that hard part of driving global growth that most people really, underestimate?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Good question. And there's a link with the turnarounds. That you're not the expert prescriber. You're chief listener, and it plays also a little bit here. Um, it is tempting to say, okay, we have this wonderful product and a wonderful brand here in this country, and let's export it, and let's export it as a global product. But what motivates customers, what motivates also teams in Tokyo, might be very different from what drives success here in Miami. So again, you have to understand, you have to listen, you have to connect with, and it can be local teams. We managed local teams in countries, but also we had partners in countries. I had a very good GSA in China at one time, and I would say, even if it's an external partner, treat them as part of your team. um, it's about understanding, and it's about, again, asking the right questions, and being flexible, that sometimes your product has to be changed and adapted. And I give you one practical example, because it's a lot of beautiful words, but I started off with China. So we became market leader in China, and we didn't do that by just exporting our product, but we went there with our local partner, and we changed our product. And our product, especially, it's the small things. It's, well, small things. It's the food. It's the some of the services on board. You don't have to change the ship. Yeah, maybe have some Chinese Mandarin language around. You don't have to change the ultimate product, but it's the little touches that need to be clearly different. And um, yeah, we started to do full charters in the Chinese market, and became market leader with that attitude.
I love that. And I'm just curious. So, based on the story you had told before with the cruise not going on the same time, and obviously that happens in business all the time, strategic plans don't go always as planned. How do you suggest you bounce back from something like that?
I don't think there's one medicine, but I still remember the biggest crisis that I had to fight was COVID. Um, with a travel company that was ambitious, that just invested in 2 new ships, that invested in acquiring hotels in Greenland and acquiring safari camps in Africa, and then, so very ambitious, and then suddenly COVID hits, and your revenue goes down to zero, because
Right.
so what I learned from that is, you have to be flexible. You have to again ask not only your team, but ask also yourself the right questions. I asked myself the question, how long is this going to take? And I went down to medical specialists and experts in that area, and quickly learned that this is not what some people believed, an 8-week thing. This is also not going to be a 3-month thing. So you have to prepare for something that is really bad and goes really deep. And in that sense, yeah, changed completely the plans to cash preservation, cut cost dramatically, stopped actually regular marketing. So why would you advertise if your customers cannot travel? But at the same time, what we did actually is, with our time, because you have quite some time left, and as a team, we started providing webinars around interesting topics around our type of travel, to the travel agent community worldwide. And these were a smash. They were such a big hit. Why? Because also these travel agents, they were sitting home, had nothing, not much to do, and our webinars gave them not only just information, but gave them hope. Like, things will change, things will turn around at some point. So yeah, I don't think there's one clear medicine, but it is, again, stop, be flexible, don't just push your strategy, don't hope. Hope is you don't build a business or a strategy on hope. uh, Try to get the facts right, and listen to experts, listen to your team, and adapt.
Yeah, I love it. I always say hope is not a strategy.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
I watched the F1 movie with Brad Pitt that came out, and that line was in the movie, and my whole family was like, "Oh my God, that's the line you always say." So
Yeah.
I'm taking credit for it, but but no, we hear it all the time, right? I heard it from someone else, and it's so true. So I'm going to digress a second, and we're going to talk about the battle between sales and marketing,
Love
because
it.
we started our company literally because of that contention between those two departments. Sales development is, some people say that's a marketing function, some people say that's a sales function. I say no, it's the mediator between the two, right? And sales development, you're taking marketing qualified leads and you're turning them into sales qualified leads. But it's bigger than that, right? Sales is always blaming marketing for not having great leads, and marketing is blaming sales for not closing their leads. So there's always this disconnect between the two. But I find it comical because it's the two most important things to work together. And when it does work together, holy cow, magic happens.
Yes.
So here's my question. When you're aligning sales and marketing, right? What is that difficult moment for organizations? And then how do you come in and fix that?
Yeah, yeah, good question. I had myself the experience as a young, professional entering fast-moving consumer goods, and there, I mean, the division between sales and marketing was massive because
Right.
marketing at that time, because it was mass marketing, it was not about delivering leads. It was about, as the sales team would say, delivering beautiful PowerPoints and designs and spending money on expensive commercials while we earn the money as sales. That was always this yeah this battle going on.
Yep.
And you're right. In the end, the reason why these conflicts happen is because both, if there are two different departments, which I would question, is that they have different whys, different KPIs, different objectives, different strategies. And again, here it's about synchronizing them, building a team that understands the strategy, understands the plan, understands where we're going as a company, not as a marketing department, not as a sales department, and understands what their role in it is. So it is about establishing again a common why, a common shared goals. And of course, that there's other aspects as well. It is about clear and consistent communication between the teams provided. So have have regular updates, but not only updates. Involve each other. Involve the sales team in the lead generation ideas. Involve the marketing team in closing the leads in discussions around it. It's about, yeah, promoting this collaboration, that you have an opportunity to input and provide your views in the other role, in your colleague's role. But then in the end, what is very, very important, I write in the book about it, is celebrating these joint successes. Not celebrating the sales successes, celebrating the marketing successes, celebrating your joint successes. uh, uh, Acknowledge, reward, and that will create that cohesion, that feeling of, okay, we are in the end just one team going for the same goal.
I love that. Sales and marketing. We always say marketing, so it's really cool to hear more perspective on that. But you've also been able to achieve incredible NPS scores. What
Yeah.
excites you the most about designing these customer experiences that people really rave about?
Well, I have to also, to be honest, these high NPS scores, they're not uncommon in the travel and hospitality industry, and that's also one reason that when I stepped into this industry, is that I never looked beyond it again, because it's so inspirational. You create products that customers are looking forward all year. It's not just a product that they sell, for a daily use or for a weekly use. No, they're all looking forward to it. This is, for most customers, it's the highlight of the year. Now, if you push that a little bit beyond that, so try to create really unique experiences. So over deliver, unexpected gestures, surprises. Um, Deliver the highlight. In travel, people want to see the highlight, but deliver more than the highlight. Show them that that unique experience that only you and your team know. And what you do then is create lifelong memories. So it's not just even that yearly event that they're looking forward. No, it's something that lasts with your customers the rest of their lives. And yeah, that is something that really excites me. And it depends on the customer, what that means. Building experiences that deliver these NPS scores means also, again, asking the right questions to your customer, know them, personalize the product, develop a really curated product for them. It could be something outside their comfort zone. It could be something Instagrammable. Once you know what they want, be creative, and as I said, create these surprises, these deliver what they expect, but deliver also things that they don't expect.
Yeah. So let's talk about the book, right? The Why Whisperer. I guess two questions. What inspired you to write it? And then who really is it for? Who's the audience on this one?
Yes, yeah, good question. So, what inspired me is probably also in those years sometimes frustrations to see really good strategies fail, frustrations to see um, people spending a lot of time on strategies, capturing that in I wanted to make a joke, 50 pages of PowerPoint, but actually I've seen strategies with 150 pages of PowerPoint that were even printed and put in a binder and then put in in a desk, and it only came out when you had an office move. So and it's interesting. So a couple of years ago, I started off my own consultancy, and I thought I really want to. What excites me is create growth strategies. I called myself a growth architect. So let's advise on creating growth strategies, marketing, sales, brand development, business development, and I saw the same pattern, and I accused myself about, yeah, now you're advising about creating those beautiful strategies, but if they're not implemented well, you have not delivered the success to your clients that they need. So
Right.
that is what motivated me to move away from these jargon filled huge PowerPoints, but yeah, to have inspirational fun plans that are aligned with everyone in the team, with everyone engaged, with everyone yeah, going for it. And you ask, so who is it for?
Yeah.
So initially I thought about, managers, leaders. I really thought about the corporate world. But it's so interesting that initial feedback is I had some really positive reviews from entrepreneurs. And one entrepreneur wrote me, I don't have time for all these MBA books and courses and trainings but your book, I read it in 2 hours. It has the checklist. I understood everything of it. I didn't have to Google difficult names and words. I understood it. It has checklists, and I'm now using it. And that was probably the best feedback that I received about the book. That really meant a lot to me.
Yeah, it's more than a book. It's a manual, right? And that's what I love about it. It's something that you can actually do, something that's practical, tactical, and you can walk away from it and apply. And I think that's what all authors want to achieve with their books. But you've been able to do it in a big, big way. So thank you for doing that for the market.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. And I bet hearing that feedback was awesome. And I know you've had huge business successes, but what is something that you are the most proud of?
Oh, yeah, it's a couple things, but we mentioned that example of Quark Expeditions, and that was indeed a company that lost a lot of money with actually a good team, but the team, of course, was demotivated a bit and had their fears, and yeah, we did not only turn it around. It was not just about writing black numbers, but in those years afterwards, we started to grow and grow rapidly, and distribute the product in more than 50 countries in the world, and replacing our old Russian ships with new ships and new tonnage, and pushing those NPS scores to levels that I've never seen before. So yeah, that and it was also one of the first CEO jobs that I did. I'm still young, but I was quite young at that time. So I had to learn so much, but I did that, and I did it in a very fast speed.
I love it. Thank you so much. So now, obviously, making a big impact is something you're proud of, but take me through a little bit beyond revenue, what does growth mean to you beyond revenue?
Oh yeah, growth has so many levers. Of course, you've got people growth. So, and I'm actually very excited about that to see your team develop, upskilling, taking on this responsibility of empowerment and really growing. And yeah, going back to that Quark example, I've seen now my former team members all over around in the industry in senior roles, very senior roles. So good for them. So when people grow, it your organizational capacity is growing, and that's probably the second growth. Yeah, organizational capacity, and here there's also an element that the organization can sustain grow without some of the key players, without you as a leader. So
Right.
the best leaders make themselves after a few years, how they call it, not necessarily anymore. So it should not depend on a few individuals. Of course, you have market growth, relevance growth, culture growth. What I would like to highlight, and because it's one of my favorite topics, is purpose growth, or and here comes the whole area of society, sustainability, and yes, that is critical, and it's important that you have a positive impact on your community, on your stakeholders, on the world. However, what I also have learned is that purpose growth should be linked to your revenue growth. Um, and I gave also an example in the book, Intrepid Travel, a company that I really admire. They have this purpose, and they have managed to deliver that from that purpose into revenue growth. At the same time, I want always to be realistic. um, you also need that revenue and that business success to drive purpose, because one of my statements has been before, only strong companies can change and influence the world. If you remain a small weak company, nice that you have a strong purpose, but you will not have that community impact that you want
Right.
to have.
Yeah. And speaking of growth, the future, obviously I have to bring it up. AI, where do you see that coming into play? And are you currently working with AI?
Yes, and so I don't talk a lot about AI in the book. I mention it a few times because actually AI can help you also with getting those ideas and questions from your teams and organization. Just imagine that you manage a big corporate company with 20,000 employees. You cannot ask every employee, their opinions and views. Uh, um, but what you could do is, well, you cannot do it personally, but you can do it, virtually, with surveys, with ID boxes, and then AI is a beautiful, strong method to analyze, to give you the key insights of what those 20,000 people have said, have suggested. So that's what I talk about in my book. But what I also would like to mention, AI, a lot of teams, a lot of employees are afraid of AI. So the learnings from my book to, involve your teams, make them understand the role of AI, make them understand that it's not about replacing them. No, it's about empowering them, giving them more insights, probably taking away tasks that are monitors that are not that interesting, and giving them the opportunity that to focus on more unique human skills and capabilities, like creativity, like empathy, like critical judgment, like the ability to connect, and giving a practical example from the travel industry, where we're all experimenting with AI. We're experimenting with AI in content creation, and also in some basic customer service. ability, and it's super powerful to take away those standard questions, standard issues, but it doesn't mean that it will take away our customer relationships. No, that it frees up actually your time to connect more and deeper with your customers. And I mean, that's my personal view. So but as I said, I understand that teams are worried about it, and I think the 6C model from my book could be wonderfully adapted to help with the implementation of AI in companies as well.
Awesome. So, Hans, thank you so much for coming on the show. I have one last question. This is to your point on the book, right? What's an action item that someone can take away from this show and put into implementation next week? So, for the executives, let's talk to executives. For the executives listening who feels really like stuck, right, in complexity or just stuck in the ruts right now, what's one hard thing that they should do this week to really reset, refocus, and get back on track? How would you advise them?
Okay, well, I would say have a conversation with the with your direct reports and ask two questions. So first question is, what's the one thing that truly energizes you about our company's plans and strategy and mission? And what's the single biggest obstacle preventing you from contributing more to it? And as I said, and this is my favorite one-liner, because in the end, your strategy is only as good as your people believing in it.
I love that.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Really enjoyed having you here. Who should reach out to you, and where's the best place for them to do so?
Okay, yes. So I have my personal website, www.hanslagerweij.com. The challenge is that you have to understand how to spell my difficult last name. But you can also find me on LinkedIn. And yeah, just reach out on me on LinkedIn.
Well, thank you, Hans, for joining us on the show. We're super excited about your book, and we'll be promoting. And yes, we'll put a link to your website so they don't have to know how to spell it. So thank you so much again, buddy.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Gabe. Thank you, Lexi.